one day closer to the showcase of the Immortals. WrestleMania 35 is just 4 days away. I just finished watching 205 Live and SmackDown Live. This is Tuesday Night Live, and I'm going to be talking about the build to the SmackDown and 205 Live side of WrestleMania. Talking about the build of the matches, talking about who I think is going to win this Sunday. Robbie K is not joining me again tonight. He will hopefully be here tomorrow, where we will not only do our NXT predictions, but we will also find out who he thinks is going to win at WrestleMania. But for now, our first build, or our first segment that had a match headed into WrestleMania 35 this week, we had the Kevin Owens show with AJ Styles and Randy Orton. I've actually really enjoyed the build to this, just because there was like an air of what does AJ Styles do next. Ever since he lost the WWE Championship, lost his rematches against Daniel Bryan, it's been like, okay, what's next for AJ? What's his thing to do? And a lot of people thought like there wasn't really anything for him. And so then it was kind of weird, you had this thing, Randy Orton kept showing up and interview segments and just kind of like just hitting these little shitty remarks towards AJ, and it fired AJ up. So AJ fought back at him. I've really enjoyed the build to this match. I feel like they could have done a little bit more. Regardless, this is one of the matches I'm the most excited about. But I am going to go with AJ Styles picking up a win, just because, especially there was a moment that, and Orton kind of won the whole segment. They got into a brawl. Kevin Owens left and knew stuff was going to go down. So they got into a brawl, and AJ ended up trying to go for the Phenomenal Forearm, got hit with an RKO. So Randy Orton's kind of in the driver's seat, technically, going into WrestleMania. So that kind of leans into that AJ's probably going to pick up the win. But I think one thing that Randy really said was that, you are, now that John Cena's in Hollywood, you are the corporate bitch. And I feel like if AJ really is taking that role, and seeing as how he's had segments with Vince McMahon and things like that, I feel like he is kind of the focal point, or at least one of the focal points of the main roster. So I feel like, not to say that Randy Orton is expendable by any means, but because he is a 13-time world champion, he can take that loss and build, as if we need more stock in AJ Styles, he can build more stock, because that is a WWE stalwart going against the guy who's only been in WWE for 3.5, almost 4 years now. So yeah, going with AJ Styles. We had a brand new match announced after we had the Usos, Aleister Black and Ricochet defeat The Bar, Rusev, and Shinsuke Nakamura in an 8-man tag match. Alexa came out, and because the Usos they forfeited the match in the gauntlet match when Woods and Big E were trying to win a spot for Kofi at WrestleMania. That apparently got them some repercussions, and so now they will defend the SmackDown Tag Team titles against the other 3 teams in the match. We had a big brawl, leaving Aleister and Ricochet on top. They were the last ones standing, and I feel like it makes the most sense for Aleister and Ricochet to win. They're my pick to win. I would prefer the Usos keep it, but I feel like Aleister and Ricochet are going to take it, especially with the fact that they've really built them as a tag team, had them win the Dusty Classic. They had the Raw Tag Team title match against the Revival. They were successful in this match. Now they have War Raiders on Friday, and now they have this match on Sunday. I think it's going to culminate. They're not going to beat the War Raiders, because War Raiders I think they've only defended the tag titles once. And so now Aleister and Ricochet going to, since they're supposed to be the Superstar Shakeup not long after Mania, I think that's going to secure them a spot on SmackDown. We'll have Ricochet and Aleister Black as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Then we had Miz defeat Sanity in a 3-on-1 Falls Count Anywhere match. The build between Shane and The Miz has been difficult to get behind. Initially, I was very excited because the fact that Shane was taking the heel role was a different way to do it. So I was intrigued at that particular moment. But then they tried to make Miz such a babyface that it's like, that's not The Miz. Like, I don't believe that as The Miz. Because we've seen that and it doesn't work. Like, Miz is a loudmouth. He doesn't... It's not the respect of fans, and it's not the goody two shoes stuff that gets Miz by. Miz is a crafty, resourceful type of guy, and that's what gets him where he is. I'm excited to see what they do with the Falls Count Anywhere match. I'm hoping if the Falls Count Anywhere match between Dean and Drew a couple weeks ago on Raw, and then this match again, the fact that they have gone, like, I'm hoping this is very much in the same vein as like the hardcore triple threat from 17 between Big Show, Kane, and Raven. I'm hoping for that kind of chaos because that would be fun. Yeah, the build's been a little wishy-washy. I'm going with The Miz picking up the win because there's no point in having Shane win. Miz has to have this like comeuppance type of thing. Plus, he's got his own TV show, and Shane's not going to be wrestling regularly, so it makes more sense for Miz to pick up the win and continue on through the rest of the year. Then we had more build towards the both Battle Royals, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and the Women's Battle Royal, with an 18-person tag team match where we had Asuka, Naomi, Nikki Cross, Carmella, Heavy Machinery, the Hardys, and R-Truth going against Mandy, Sonya, Lana, Zelina, Andrade St. Alma, Shelton Benjamin, EC3, and The Club. Ridiculous amounts of people. All of these guys and girls are in their respective battle royals. Some funny moments here and there. Lacey Evans ended up coming out not long after the beginning. We started with Zelina and Nikki Cross, and so while they were still fighting, Lacey ended up coming out and flaunting herself because that's what she does. So, seeing as how this is the build for both of the Battle Royals, the Battle Royals are hard to build. I think they've done it better in years past. This year has not been that great. It's just been like, hey, this person's in the Battle Royal. Remember, the Battle Royal is a thing. They're on well, at least one of them is going to be on the pre-show. Maybe both of them. We'll have to wait and see. But I think I've decided, as I said on the Raw review, I think I'm going to go with Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews makes sense to win the Andre Battle Royal because the Andre Battle Royal winner doesn't get pushed the way they should. It's essentially like, hey, we appreciate what you're doing. Here's a win at WrestleMania that doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything, but here you go. We're going to give you this. And I think Apollo Crews, they've been trying to push him. He's been in other matches on Raw. He's been trying to step up. He's had the whole thing with, kind of opposing Baron Corbin while being respectful with Kurt Angle type of thing in the last couple weeks. So I feel like he is a front runner. That they're like, hey, here's this thing. We're not going to give you much more than this, but here's a thing that people can say that you won. I wish they'd give Apollo Crews more than that. But I'm going with Apollo Crews winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And just because she hasn't done anything since the Royal Rumble, Lacey Evans is going to potentially do she won't be in the match when the bell rings, but she'll do her, there would be a few people that get eliminated. She'll come out and then flaunt herself again, and then she'll get in and then she'll win the Battle Royal. So, going with Apollo Crews for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I'm going Lacey Evans for the Women's Battle Royal. Then we had Samoa Joe defeat Mustafa Ali. Samoa Joe's defending the United States Championship against Rey Mysterio. This one's a tough one. I don't feel like the build between these two has been enough. Both of these guys, big names, legends in their own right, going for essentially the least popular championship in the entirety of WWE. And neither of them were really part of the whole, holy crap, this is happening thing when R-Truth took the title from Shinsuke and then beat Rusev. And then it was like oh my god, if this was R-Truth, I'd be more excited, because R-Truth was they were really pushing him, and it was kind of cool. And now he's just in the Battle Royal. I mean, I'm sure Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio is going to be great. I think it's going to end up being forgettable, mostly because it's for a championship that no one really cares about. But this was kind of one of the ones that's more difficult to decide. But I think I'm going to go with Samoa Joe retention, just because I think you get more longevity in trying to build someone to take out Samoa Joe, which, based on this match and based on the fact that Mustafa Ali has, unfortunately been taken out of the main title picture, this might be where they try and re-inject him in, and we might have Mustafa Ali be the one to take the title away from Joe. And then finally at the end we have the contract signing. Kofi Kingston and the New Day on one side, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan on the other. Michael Cole was moderating a little bit. Kofi is fired up. The crowd is ready for it. This has been, unintentionally, the best built match on the WrestleMania card. The fact that Kofi ended up taking Mustafa's place, going into Elimination Chamber. I want to say I called it back at the Royal Rumble. I thought Kofi was going to win the Rumble. I thought he was going to be, I thought who else could fight curmudgeon-y Daniel Bryan, and why not Power of Positivity guy who has been a major singles star, major tag team star. Why wouldn't he get a shot at the WWE Championship, especially in such a progressive time for WWE? I'm going Kofi Kingston. He's going to be the first ever African-American WWE champion. Full African-American WWE champion. I'm excited to see it. I absolutely think Kofi deserves it. I think this has the potential to be one of, if not the biggest match of the show. I think Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, just based on the things they've done in the Elimination Chamber, in the Gauntlet matches, at Fastlane, not at Fastlane, obviously, because Kofi didn't get that, but all the build to Fastlane and all the stuff after that, I feel like there's so much tension. The crowd is going to be so behind this match. There's going to be a lot of noise, specifically for Kofi. I'm excited to see it happen. Going Kofi Kingston. Very excited for that match. And then finally, on 205 Live, we had the final confrontation between Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese. I actually just today got caught up on 205 Live. I'd been behind for a few weeks, and so I got to see Tony Nese win the 205 Live tournament, and then have Buddy Murphy turn on him, and then Buddy Murphy being at the Performance Center and talking a bunch of trash, and Tony Nese ends up being there and attacking him. This was Buddy Murphy getting his revenge and attacking Tony Nese, but Tony Nese ended up winning this whole thing by just drilling his knee into the side of his head. So I called this back, I think it was heading into Survivor Series, when they were like, okay, we're going to do it was a 4-way or a fatal 5-way, one of the two, to determine who was going to face Buddy Murphy at Survivor Series. And I thought Tony Nese was going to win a shot into that match because I thought they were really starting to push Tony Nese versus Buddy Murphy. So the fact that he's won this, I'm excited. Tony Nese is one of my favorite guys on 205 Live. But unfortunately, I don't think he has enough star power for WWE to be like, yes, he's the one we want as Cruiserweight Champion. Especially when you've got new guys coming in. When you've got like Oni Lorcan, you've got Humberto Carrillo. You got Mike Kanellis, who's now like building up his persona and his space on 205 Live. Even though there's more heels on there, I feel like we might get a really good influx of babyface talent. It's kind of wishy-washy on 205 Live, but I think the era of Buddy Murphy will continue. The Unstoppable will continue to be the Cruiserweight Champion for a little bit longer. Not too much longer, because he's coming up on fairly close to a year that he's been champion. I can't remember when Super Showdown was, but I'm pretty sure it was the end of the summer. So we're getting pretty close to that time. So yeah, I'm saying Buddy Murphy keeping the Cruiserweight Championship. That is it for my predictions of WrestleMania 35. Check back tomorrow. We will have my predictions for NXT TakeOver. Hopefully we will have Robbie K here to do it as well. Otherwise, it'll just be me again talking about NXT TakeOver New York, and I'm excited for that too. So for now, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to click all the links down below. Let us know what types of videos you'd like to see. We're going to be changing things up here. Schedules and whatnot, kind of not allowing our usual schedule. So if there's a type of video you'd like to see us do, let us know down below. Contact us on various social medias. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch.